Hey, welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. Where it's that magic time again. It's a nicer sky than we've been having lately. We've been having some rainy skies without the rain. Now it looks like the rain is over. It was a very brief patch, didn't really wet the ground hardly. Certainly didn't alleviate much our problems with water. Our wells have been not exactly running dry, but they have their dry spells where they need to top up. Well, looks like Leonardo did a job on the sky tonight. Looks very beautiful. We've been down for the first part of the night or the evening, and we've been looking at the piece of land that would be allowed or let, however it might be described, so that Alfred can build a house. I doubt that it will be the house that he had hoped for. He had a measurement of 12, I think it was 12 meters by 10 meters, which would have to be one heck of a house by our standards. And when we showed him what there was to work with, he's obviously very disappointed. I think he came up here and saw, well, he sees our sunsets. He's been living down there where you can see the houses. He's been living in the little house next door to the bigger house there, which is Lena's, and they've been living there. And it's a nice spot. Well, that's Lena's inheritance, and so it has to be remembered that this land is to be divided among 12, or sorry, not 12, among 10 siblings. So the choices are not infinite. And as Alfred said, the problem is, and I confess to interrupting him, saying, no, whatever you see the problem, it's not about money any more than everybody else is about money. Yes, everybody has the same. There are no problems which are peculiar and special to Alfred and Talia. They have a limited amount of money which he has to be able to spare, and he has a certain picture in his mind as to the kind of house that he would want to live in. As I've said before, with Alfred, he's built an extremely nice conventional house out in Thailand, and now he's here, and that kind of house up here in the hills, it's not going to happen. Not under possibly 1 million pesos. Even at that, I kind of doubt it. But what you're looking at there is Julio's house, and that little patch of concrete that runs down from Julio's house down out of sight behind that hill. Up behind that, on the other side, the high side of that concrete road, is the piece of land that I think now they're talking about putting a house up on. And it's not about the limits of Alfred's imagination, it's about the limits of a certain amount of money to work with and a certain place in which to build a house. One of the other places earlier on in that video, which you may have seen, was Alfred saying, you can't build a house here. And this is where the incredible resourcefulness of these mountain people comes in. And I had to say to him, Rado could build a house probably single-handed in this spot in 2 weeks. It just wouldn't be the kind of house that you would live in. And so Alfred is struggling now with the problems. He thinks that anything that's built on a steep slope has to be infilled, whereas it can actually be dug away, and then whatever was dug away can be moved out. There are many ways to handle all of these problems, and Filipinos are incredibly resourceful at handling those problems. So we'll hope for a resolution. Meanwhile, the goats continue on a lighter note. Well, it looks like a little, as I've said before, the goats are now growing up, and the babies, these are the two babies. They're not cutie pies anymore, but they are still beautiful. And there's one there next to Mom. Oh, look at that. Isn't that cute? That's sweet. And this guy here is perched on a log. So there's the last of the sunlight. That's when it's disappeared completely behind that high ground, and it's just lighting up the sky. And that goes right up there. So it's a sunset, it's the end of a day, disappointing one for our friend Alfred, and I think that he's finding now what real life is like here, a simple life. They were out shopping today and bought certain things. Talia buys what she needs, and what she needs is not what Alfred maybe thinks that she needs. And what Alfred is finding now is the difference between what he thinks that she is meaning and what she actually means. She went to get something at the bakery. He had tried to get something at the bakery and failed. He came back to the truck and said to Talia, "You go," and whatever it was that they wanted. And so he asked her how much she would need, and she said 100 pesos. And he said, "No, it's too much, you don't need 100 pesos, and he gave her 20 pesos. And she came back a little while later, a few minutes, with 100 pesos worth of drinks. This is one of the things that if you get too rigid in what you are telling your partner, without allowing for the fact that there may be a gross misunderstanding, you will end up having quarrels and hurt feelings. And with the way of the Philippines of non-confrontation, it will probably build up until there's a break in communication, and then you'll have what foreigners are fondly calling, let me see, tamper, I think it is, or tampo. But that's the description for a condition that expats, foreigners, refer to a little bit disparagingly, I feel, because it usually indicates that the mood is unreasonable and unfathomable, but actually it's not. If you've been paying attention, you'll know that they are upset about several things, and in the end you have to learn how to handle that. There's Tiger, and Tiger is in love with Red and keeps going over there and trying to give Red a full service. Red is taking his cue and has been trying to hump other dogs as well, and I'm wondering why nothing registers. Such is life in the animal world. Well, there's the goats. There's Tiger, if you can just about see him, and Mommy Goat. And we'll say goodnight. Thanks for being with us. This is A Foreigner in the Philippines. Bye.